Good evening everybody. I said that tonight I was going to read a story that was more suitable for Key Stage 2. So I've brought along a book by my absolute favourite children's author called Colin Thompson, The Paperbag Prince. And if you like it, I've got lots more books written by Colin Thompson, so I can read you another one another night. All the pictures on the illustrations are really detailed, so if you like, while you're watching, you could pause the video when I show you each page and you could have a look at the details and see if you can spot some of the lovely intricate pictures. Colin Thompson hides a picture of a tiny black dog on every single page, so you could try and have a little look at that. It's a little bit like a Where's Wally challenge. So I hope you enjoy it. The Paperbag Prince by Colin Thompson. Out past the edge of a big untidy town was a beautiful green valley. Hidden behind its tall trees were bright flowers and bushes full of birds. In the middle of this lovely place, the people of the town dumped their rubbish. Every day lorries went down to the end of the narrow lane and tipped out the city's leftovers. There should have been a pretty village in the valley, but instead there was a terrible mess. New rubbish was thrown on top of old rubbish. At the bottom of the pile, dark green moss clung to the seats of cars that had almost vanished into the earth. Between the old cars there were wild flowers growing, and trees had begun to live in the oldest corners of the dump. Nature never gave up. Wherever there was a tiny gap, something managed to survive. Animals lived there too. Not just mice and insects, but larger creatures like cats and weasels and foxes. For them, it was a wonderful place, safe from the attentions of man. The twisted, torn bodies of refrigerators pressing into the flattened frames of old beds made 100 little corridors and highways. Under an old clock, a lazy dormouse slept. Inside a television, a family of sparrows made their home. There was life everywhere, even a tiny puddle in a worn-out shoe. There were mosquito larvae waiting for summer. Humans didn't like to be near the rubbish. For them it was a dangerous place with rusty metal and broken glass and rotting things that smelt of disease. In a back corner there was a poison pool where large metal drums leaked into a brown pond and nothing, not even the smallest plant, could live. The animals were cleverer than man. They kept away from the poison pool and thrived in their man-made environment. By the entrance to the dump was a tumble-down railway carriage. Once it had been bright and new with red velvet seats and brass lights and had run through the countryside behind a shiny steam engine. Then the line had closed down and all the carriages were taken away on long, low lorries. Some had gone to cricket fields, where they were painted white and fitted with tea machines. Others had gone to the seaside for people to stay in on their holidays. But this carriage had come to the council rubbish dump, and now it sat in the grass on a pile of broken bricks. Every morning, before the first lorry arrived at the dump, the Paperbag Prince cycled slowly up the lane, unlocked the gate, and went into the shed. He was an old man in old clothes, and he moved slowly and quietly. No one knew what his real name was. A lorry driver had called him the Paperbag Prince one day, and now everyone did. A few minutes later, after the old man went to his shed, smoke began to trickle from the tin chimney. Out of the rubbish, animals began to appear. There were blackbirds and a crowd of chattery sparrows, and some mornings a shy fox. Now and then a small dog and even a brown rat emerged from the ugly jungle. When the stove was alight, the old man came back out and sat on a chair by the door. Out of the paper bag he brought food. The cats came straight over and rubbed around his legs. The birds hopped onto the back of his chair where they could keep an eye on the cats. The fox crept up, crawling flat to the ground like a sheepdog. The dog, which didn't come often, was the most nervous of all and kept well back. "Come on, princess," the old man said softly. The dog put her head to one side and stayed where she was. She was very thin, and when he threw her food, she ate it as if she hadn't eaten for days. but no matter how he tried, she would never come any closer. By the time the lorries began to arrive, the animals had vanished back into the rubbish. All day long, lorries came, tipping black bags and broken bits of houses into untidy piles. Seagulls gathered to fight and flap over the mountains of new bags. The old man poked through everything. He collected wood for his stove and old clothes to wear. He smoothed out old paper bags and piled them up inside wardrobes. Next to his shed, there were 12 wardrobes, all jammed tight with thousands of paper bags. That was how he got his name. People seemed to throw stuff away for no reason at all. His carriage was full of last year's radios and beautiful coloured bottles. He had 87 odd shoes, 14 video recorders and 19 television sets. But he had no electricity, nor any wish for it.